I have been a dedicated physicist for well over 4 intense decades. Throughout my career, I've stared into the profound, crushing abyss of supermassive black holes. I have meticulously traced the chaotic, violent birth of stars, and I have calculated the inevitable heat death of entire galaxies. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, could have possibly prepared me for the staggering reality of what I am about to tell you today. Before we begin this journey, I need you to do something absolutely essential for me. Please comment your specific city name below and tell me, have you noticed anything unusual in the night sky lately? NASA is currently quietly and aggressively monitoring reports from civilian observers around the world, and your seemingly insignificant observation might be far more critical to this unfolding scenario than you realize. 3 months ago, something happened that sent shockwaves, true measurable shockwaves, through every major space agency on this planet. It involved an object we have been tracking for years, an interstellar visitor known as 3I Atlas, a solitary comet that entered our solar system from the vast cold darkness between the stars. But this is not merely a story about a comet. This is a story about what transpired when a massive fragment of that cosmic traveler violently broke away, defied every known law of celestial mechanics we understand, and began moving toward Earth with what can only be described as terrifying intentionality. I want you to understand something absolutely critical before we go any further. When I use the term broke off, I don't mean it crumbled due to random solar radiation or gravitational stress. I mean it separated cleanly, geometrically, as if precisely severed by an invisible scalpel operating at the quantum level. The highly precise separation occurred at exactly 4:22 a.m., Greenwich Mean Time, on September 17th. The fragment measured approximately 847 meters in length, roughly the size of 3 massive aircraft carriers stacked end to end, and its surface exhibited exotic properties that by all known physics should not exist on any naturally occurring celestial body. The initial discovery was made by Dr. Elena Vasquez at the remote Atacama Observatory in Chile. She was conducting routine spectroscopic analysis of 3I Atlas when her instruments detected a baffling anomaly. The parent comet's light signature suddenly split into 2 distinct, conflicting readings. At first, she suspected a severe equipment malfunction. She recalibrated. She ran extensive diagnostics. The dual reading persisted. Then she did what any good scientist would do. She called for immediate independent verification. Within 6 short hours, telescopes in Hawaii, South Africa, and Australia confirmed exactly what she was seeing. A fragment had indeed separated from 3I. The separation was too clean, the fragment is too large, and its light signature suggested impossible properties. But the most terrifying detail was this: it didn't drift. It executed a deliberate course correction. Natural objects don't make decisions. What broke off wasn't a rock, it was a mission. But here is where the story takes an immediate, dizzying turn into territory that makes even seasoned astrophysicists lose sleep. The fragment was not following a predictable ballistic trajectory. In our universe, when objects violently break apart in space, they follow ballistic paths determined solely by momentum, gravity, and the conservation of angular momentum. It's physics 101. It's reliable. It's mathematical. This fragment ignored those rules entirely. It executed what can only be described as a controlled course correction, a deliberate, unmistakable change in velocity and direction that required an energy expenditure. Natural objects absolutely do not do that. Spacecraft do that. Probes do that. Technology does that. NASA assembled an emergency task force within 18 hours. I was brought in as a consultant along with specialists in planetary defense, quantum mechanics, exobiology, and, this crucial detail still gives me chills, experts in artificial intelligence and machine consciousness. Why, I remember wondering, would NASA possibly need AI specialists to analyze a piece of rock from interstellar space? That question profoundly haunted me during the entire flight to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL. The highly classified briefing took place in a small, windowless room 3 floors below ground level. 47 scientists, Military personnel and government officials sat in absolute unnerving silence as the data was presented. What we saw on those screens violated our understanding of natural phenomena so thoroughly that several colleagues simply refused to accept it as reality. I watched a woman with 3 PhDs in astrophysics start to cry, not from fear, but from the sudden crushing realization that everything we thought we knew about our cosmic isolation might be catastrophically wrong. The fragment was visibly decelerating. Do you understand the sheer magnitude of what that implies? In the vacuum of space, objects do not simply slow down unless purposefully acted upon by an external force. The fragment was generating a counterthrust, shedding velocity in a manner that strongly suggested controlled, managed propulsion. The energy signature was unlike anything in our technological repertoire. No chemical rockets, no ion drives, no nuclear pulse systems. Whatever was slowing this object down operated on fundamental principles we have yet to discover. I was in the room when the data came in. The fragment was shedding speed in the vacuum of space, actively breaking itself. My colleague, a brilliant astrophysicist, whispered 2 words: first contact. The truth is, the fragment wasn't slowing down to stop, it was slowing down to target. But the deceleration was only the beginning. The fragment's surface was emitting a sophisticated signal, a repeating pattern of electromagnetic pulses in the X-ray spectrum. The pattern cycled every 11.34 seconds with atomic clock precision. It was mathematical, it was structured, it was without question artificial. I vividly remember sitting in that briefing room, my hands trembling as I held the printout of the signal analysis. Beside me, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a colleague I've known for 20 years, leaned over and whispered, "Mayo, this is first contact. This is actually happening." I desperately wanted to tell her she was wrong. I wanted to find a neat, natural explanation. I wanted to preserve the comfortable, decades-long illusion that humanity was alone in the universe, simply stumbling through the cosmos with no one watching. But the data doesn't care about our comfort. The data only tells us what is real. The signal was decoded within 48 hours. I cannot under any circumstances tell you how they did it. That information remains rigorously classified. But I can tell you what it said. The message was simple, chillingly elegant, and ultimately more terrifying than any overtly hostile transmission could ever have been. It was a warning, not a threat. There is a profound difference between the two. The message contained complex mathematical proofs, precise star charts, and a detailed timeline. It showed the galactic neighborhood, our tiny solar system, and a radius of approximately 200 light years. Within that radius, the message identified 17 civilizations. 17. All tragically extinct, all destroyed within the last 50,000 years, and all sharing one common fatal characteristic. They had all reached what the message called the threshold of universal awareness. I've spent my entire career studying the universe's fundamental laws. I've written equations describing the very fabric of space-time. I've theorized about parallel universes and higher dimensions. But nothing in my education prepared me for the mind-bending concept that technological advancement might be cosmically regulated, that there might be an intelligence or intelligences actively enforcing a galactic quarantine on species that evolve too quickly, that develop certain technologies, that begin to manipulate the quantum substrate of reality itself. The message meticulously outlines specific technologies: artificial general intelligence, quantum consciousness transfer, matter replication at the molecular level, and faster-than-light communication through quantum entanglement. Each of these technologies, according to the message, represents a distinct threshold marker. A civilization that achieves 3 or more of these capabilities is flagged, actively monitored, and if they continue to advance without demonstrating what the message called cosmic responsibility, they are eliminated. Humanity currently possesses 2 of these technologies. We are currently working hard on the 3rd. The decoded message warned of 17 extinct civilizations, all destroyed after reaching the threshold of universal awareness. Humanity currently possesses 2 of the forbidden technologies and is building the 3rd. The fragment is not a weapon of war, it is a galactic cease and desist order. The fragment's final trajectory was immediately recalculated using this new, devastating information. The destination was confirmed with 99.97% certainty. It wasn't heading for a major city or a strategic military installation. It was heading directly for the James Webb Space Telescope's successor, a quantum observatory we haven't even announced to the public yet. It is currently under construction at the L2 Lagrange point, a facility designed to peer deeper into space and time than ever before, a facility that would finally allow us to detect and communicate with extraterrestrial intelligence across vast cosmic distances. The fragment will arrive in just 42 days. Let me be absolutely clear about what I am suggesting here. I'm not talking about cheesy little green men and flying saucers. I'm talking about something far more complex and infinitely more unsettling. I'm talking about the very real possibility that the universe operates under a set of rules we never suspected. That evolution itself might be actively monitored. That technological development might be subject to external control, that there might be severe consequences for reaching too far, too fast, without fundamentally understanding the cosmic responsibilities that accompany that knowledge. Some of my respected colleagues believe the fragment is a weapon, that it will successfully destroy the quantum observatory and set our space program back by decades. Others think it's purely a communication device, that it will establish a direct, stable link to whatever intelligence sent it. A few, and these are people whose opinions I deeply respect, believe it's a test. They believe that how we respond to this inbound fragment will definitively determine whether humanity is deemed worthy of survival or marked for immediate extinction like the 17 civilizations that came before us. I've been asked by people in positions of unimaginable authority what I think we should do. Should we attempt a difficult interception of the fragment? Should we attempt to destroy it? Should we simply welcome it? I told them what any honest scientist would have to say. I don't know. Because this isn't merely a physics problem. This isn't just an engineering challenge. This is a profound existential question about who we are as a species, what we collectively value, and whether we're capable of the kind of collective wisdom that might allow us to survive contact with an intelligence that views us the way we view bacteria in a petri dish. 3 days after the separation, people globally began reporting identical vivid dreams featuring the same mathematical symbol, a spiral. That symbol is in the fragment signal. The first contact didn't happen with telescopes. It happened directly in the minds of millions, proving the fragment is more than just a physical object. The fragment demonstrably contains materials that do not exist in any periodic table. Its surface exhibits quantum properties that should be physically impossible at macroscopic scales. When we directed radio telescopes at it, attempting to establish conventional communication, the signal it was broadcasting changed. It immediately incorporated elements of our transmission into its own complex pattern, as if learning our language in real time, as if actively studying us. There is something else, something I've been hesitant to mention because it sounds like science fiction even to my own ears. 3 days after the fragment cleanly separated from 3I Atlas, people around the world began reporting vivid recurring dreams featuring specific mathematical formulas, unique geometric patterns, and a recurring symbol, a spiral intersecting with a straight line, dividing space into regions of light and shadow. These reports came from individuals with no scientific training, no knowledge of the fragment, and no connection to each other. A truck driver in Montana, a school teacher in Tokyo, a fisherman in Madagascar, all describing the same precise symbol, all waking up with the same inexplicable certainty that something vast and incomprehensible was attempting to communicate. NASA now has a dedicated team analyzing these reports, trying to determine if there's any validity to what seems like mass hysteria. But I have seen the symbol. It appears within the fragment's own signal, deeply embedded in the mathematical structure of the message. It's a marker, a signature, perhaps even a name, and it's being projected directly into the consciousness of certain individuals through mechanisms we cannot begin to fathom. This strongly suggests that the fragment isn't just a physical object. It's a node in a network that spans the entire galaxy and possibly beyond. A network that can interface directly with biological consciousness, that can plant complex ideas and images into the minds of beings millions of light years away. If that's true, then first contact didn't happen 3 months ago when the fragment separated from 3I Atlas. First contact happened the precise moment the first human dreamed that symbol. I lie awake at night thinking about those 17 extinct civilizations. I wonder what they looked like, what they believed, what specific technologies they developed that marked them for elimination. Were they outwardly aggressive? Did they build weapons that threatened galactic stability? Or were they simply too curious, too ambitious, too eager to pull back the curtain and see what lay beyond their cosmic horizon? And I wonder, with crushing sincerity, if we are truly any different. Humanity stands at an unprecedented precipice. We have artificial intelligence systems that are beginning to exhibit emergent properties we don't fully understand. We have quantum computers that manipulate reality at the subatomic level. We have CRISPR technology that allows us to edit the very genetic code of life itself. We have dreams, increasingly tangible dreams, of becoming a multiplanetary species, of spreading throughout the solar system and eventually beyond. These ambitions are undeniably beautiful. They represent the very best of what we are: curious, innovative, relentless in our pursuit of knowledge and expansion. But what if that very relentless nature is precisely what marks us as a fundamental threat? The fragment will reach Earth's orbital space in exactly 42 days. Every major government on this planet is actively preparing for that moment. Contingency plans have been drafted and finalized. Emergency protocols have been secretly activated. The public is being kept rigorously in the dark, fed mundane stories about routine space operations and scientific missions. Meanwhile, behind heavily guarded doors, humanity's brightest minds are grappling with questions that have no easy answers. Do we have the inherent right to take risks that could potentially endanger our entire species? Do we have the right to develop technologies that might violate cosmic regulations we never knew existed? Who gets to make these ultimate decisions, and what gives them that overwhelming authority? I don't have the answers. I only have burning questions and an overwhelming sense that we are standing right at the edge of something profound. A moment that will define not just this generation, but the entire future trajectory of human civilization. The fragment is still broadcasting its signal. It hasn't wavered, it hasn't ceased. Every 11.34 seconds, it sends out its mathematical warning, its detailed catalog of extinct civilizations, its chilling reminder that the universe is not the empty, harmless playground we imagined it to be. And somewhere in a facility you'll never hear about, scientists are working around the clock to decode the deeper layers of that message, to understand what comes next, to prepare for the possibility that in 42 days, everything changes forever. I think about Carl Sagan, who once beautifully said that the cosmos is within us, that we're made of star stuff, that we're a way for the universe to know itself. It's a glorious sentiment. But what if the universe doesn't want to be known by us? What if there are secrets that carry catastrophic consequences for the knowing? What if consciousness itself is not the ultimate gift we always assumed it was, but rather a test, one that most species fundamentally fail? These are the agonizing thoughts that keep me awake at night. These are the terrifying questions that haunt me as I watch the fragment draw closer day by day, hour by hour, second by second. I am telling you this not to frighten you, but because you have an absolute right to know the truth. You have a right to understand that we live in a universe far stranger and demonstrably more dangerous than we ever imagined, that there are forces at work beyond our comprehension, forces monitoring our development, measuring our progress against cosmic standards we never agreed to. That humanity's future might not be in our hands at all, but rather subject to the inevitable judgment of intelligences so advanced that we appear to them as we might appear to ants, barely conscious, operating solely on instinct, completely unaware of the vast, complex structures that govern our entire existence. The fragment contains powerful knowledge. That much we know. Whether that knowledge is a gift or a final sentence, we'll discover soon enough. But I want you to think about something important. I want you to consider the possibility that we're not alone in this universe, that the universe fundamentally won't allow true isolation, that the very moment a species develops the technology to detect others, they become part of a network, a galactic community bound by rules we're only now beginning to glimpse. and that our admission into that community comes with a price we may not be willing or able to pay. In 42 days, we will know. In 42 days, the fragment will arrive, and whatever intelligence sent it will make its intentions unequivocally clear. We'll either be welcomed into the vast cosmic fold, or will tragically take our place alongside those 17 extinct civilizations. It is a cautionary tale for the next ambitious species that reaches too far, too fast, without truly understanding the crushing weight of what they were reaching for. I have dedicated my life to understanding the universe. I have written books about the future of humanity, about our destiny among the stars, about the glorious possibilities that await us as we evolve and expand. I still believe in those possibilities, but I also understand now that the path forward is far more treacherous than I ever imagined, that there are guardians and gatekeepers, rules and regulations, tests and trials that we must successfully navigate if we hope to survive. The question isn't whether we're alone in the universe. We know now that we are not. The question is whether we are ultimately worthy of the company we're about to keep. Follow this channel as we continue decoding the universe's final warnings, as we track the fragment's approach, as we uncover the deeper layers of the message it carries. Because whatever happens in 42 days will irrevocably reshape human civilization, and you deserve to witness it, to understand it, to be a vital part of the conversation about what it truly means to be human in a universe that's been silently watching us all along. So I ask you again, have you noticed anything unusual in the night sky? Have you had the dreams? Have you felt the growing presence of something vast and ancient turning its powerful attention toward our tiny blue world? Because if you have, you are not alone. Millions around the world are experiencing the same precise phenomena, the same symbols, the same growing certainty that we're on the threshold of something that will change absolutely everything. And in 42 days, we'll discover whether that change is the beginning of humanity's greatest chapter or the final entry in a story that ends the way so many others have ended. In silence, in darkness, in the cold, unforgiving mathematics of cosmic regulation. What do you think is on that fragment? What do you think it fundamentally wants? This enigma challenges every fabric of our collective reality, forcing us to confront the silence of the void that has suddenly begun to speak. As we count down the final weeks, the tension within the scientific community is palpable, a mixture of scientific curiosity and primal dread. The data streaming from our deep space arrays continues to confirm the fragment's deceleration, a graceful yet terrifying maneuver that mocks our understanding of inertia. Every calculation confirms the same destination, the L2 Lagrange point. Our clandestine construction of the quantum observatory, intended to be our greatest achievement, now appears to be the very beacon that summoned this cosmic arbiter. We are watching the skies not with the wonder of explorers, but with the anxiety of a student waiting for a grade that determines their entire future. The silence from the government is the loudest sound of all, a vacuum of information filled only by the rhythmic pulse of that 11.34-second signal. It is a heartbeat from the stars, relentless and indifferent to our fear. We must prepare ourselves for the realization that our place in the cosmos is not guaranteed. We are a part of a larger, perhaps more rigid, biological and technological ecosystem than our philosophies ever dared to suggest. The 17 civilizations mentioned in the decoded signal serve as a grim reminder that failure is a common outcome in the grand experiment of intelligence. If we are to be the 18th, or if we are to be the one that breaks the cycle, depends on a wisdom we have yet to demonstrate on a global scale. The time for tribalism and petty terrestrial conflicts is over. The universe has arrived at our doorstep, and it expects a unified response. Whatever happens when that timer hits zero, the world we knew is already gone, replaced by a reality where we are no longer the masters of our own destiny.